Hey, 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 gang. Happy Wednesday, I think. Is it Wednesday? I'm not incredibly sure, to be honest with you. I'm pretty sure it's Wednesday. So happy Wednesday to everybody. Today we have a super fun stream lined up for you. Before we jump into that, just want to say hi to everybody who is watching across platforms on YouTube, on Facebook, on Rumble, on Getter, and of course to our locals gang, our original family over there, the OGs who really come hang out with us all the time. I'm so excited to see this locals community grow and our community and family on all of our other platforms as well. No matter what platform you guys are watching on right now, thank you for taking some time out of your day to spend with us. This is just the best part of my day, the highlight of my day. So it is a pleasure to get to know you all, especially if you are a first-time viewer or you are new in the last week or so. Please drop your name and where you're watching from in the live chat on whatever platform you are currently watching on. This is a community first and foremost, so we want to get to know you and hear what you have to say throughout the stream as well. So drop everything in the live chat to say hello to the amazing streaming gang that we get together with every single day at 3 p.m. Eastern. If you guys are new around here from my Instagram, from my TikTok, or any other platform and you just happen to find me through Discovery, my name is Isabel Brown. I am a 25, almost 26 in a few weeks, year-old independent content creator and live streamer, and every day here across platforms at 3 p.m. Eastern, go live to give you my thoughts from a Gen Z perspective on what is going on in culture, in trending news, in religion, in politics, in crazy TikTok trends, and everything in between. It is a really fun place to be, and we love going live. What's beautiful about these streams is that they really are live in real time. So we want your participation in the live chat as much as possible throughout the stream. If you liked something that I say, if you didn't like something that I say, if you have questions about something that I said, please drop all of that over in our chat and feel free to get to know one another as well, because this is all about building a sense of connection, and our live streams are really intended to create a sense of community and bringing people together from all corners of the globe, which I know we have a huge international audience that tunes in every day as well. So we'll say hi to some people before we jump in. Today we're trying something a little bit new on the stream with unpacking a true crime story. I've gotten pretty into true crime as of late, so I saw this story and just immediately knew that I had to talk about it with you guys on the stream today because it is wild and it will keep you up at night thinking about this insane story. We're going to unpack a wild trending story about a Utah mom who was widowed last year. Her husband passed away. She ends up writing a kid's book about grief and how to deal with the passing of a loved one in Utah for her children that goes super viral and becomes a bestseller. And this week she was arrested for the murder of said husband. The story is wild. So we're going to be unpacking all of that. Plus, Bluey, the show, the kids show, is apparently next on the chopping block. So sad for cancel culture because they weren't body positive enough. If you've been here at least since Monday, you'll know apparently we aren't body positive enough either, but we talked about the body positivity movement and our culture's tendency towards obesity, why that's really unhealthy and why we are embracing a trajectory in culture that is leading us away from health instead of towards it on Monday. So if you didn't get a chance to watch that, please, I encourage you to go back and watch it. It was one of my favorite streams that we've done in a really long time. So we'll talk about Bluey, the kids show, after our crazy true crime story, and then we'll do our post-stream Q&A over on Locals, which we do every single time. You guys probably know, I've said it a few times, that this week I'm kind of dealing with a loss of voice problem and a little bit of a pre-cold, which I can't really afford to have because tomorrow I leave for my first ever trip to Canada to give a keynote speech to the youth organization side of things for the March for Life that is happening in Ottawa this week. Very excited to take my first trip to the Great White North. I hate that I'm going to Ottawa for one night to my first trip to Canada, but you know what? We'll just have to go back. It's okay. But I cannot afford to lose my voice. So today I was supposed to pre-record our streams for tomorrow and Friday since I'm going to be on a lot of airplanes and in dingy hotels and don't have a lot of time to put the stream together while I am on the road, but I probably won't end up pre-recording. Fingers crossed I will tonight. We'll play it by ear with my voice, but don't want to totally lose my voice before this really important speech that I have to give tomorrow night. So I will give you an update in the YouTube community section. We'll do a little note on Rumble as a comment somewhere. I'll do a Getter post and a Locals post about it all to just update you along the way. But if we don't end up doing a stream tomorrow or Friday, that is why. I am going to see if they are recording my speech tomorrow night to do on the stream on Friday. So fingers crossed that I'll be able to just share my speech with you on Friday for the stream. And hopefully in a perfect world, my throat feels a lot better in the next couple of hours and I'll just be able to pre-record anyway. So that is great. But just so you know, we will be at least pre-recorded, if not doing a stream tomorrow and Friday. Also, next Monday, I am taking a trip to Nashville for work. So I will probably be streaming from the road over there as well. And then we're done with trips for a while, which is very exciting. I'm really ready to be home and not traveling so much. It has been a really crazy few months, but these are my last few engagements for the spring, wrapping up, and excited to spend the summer here at home. Let's say hi to some people before we jump into our crazy story today. Ethan says, hello from the UK in our YouTube chat. Ethan, hello. So glad you're here. XVI is watching from the Netherlands. So cool. We love that. Have always wanted to visit your beautiful country. Nobleness D is watching, says, so crazy. I made it on time for once right after unsubbing from Destiny. Okay, I'm dying to know what happened with Destiny. Did something like big happen? You put this in the chat and it's been rattling around in my head for a long time. So whatever happened, put it in the chat. I gotta know. Alan is watching on Facebook. Ethan is asking who is Destiny. Destiny is a big streamer. Generally, I like most of his content, so I'd be really curious to know what is going on. We don't agree on everything, but I do like his content. Steven is watching on Facebook, says it's my favorite Gen Zer. Hi, thank you, Steven. That is so kind. Tito is watching on YouTube. Steve is watching on YouTube. Red Scorpion is watching on YouTube. Jay just joined us from Minnesota over on Facebook. Jumping over to Getter, Mike's page is here. SC Mountains is here. Hi, SC Mountains. So good to see you. Scott is watching on Getter, and our Locals gang is popping off in the chat. Alex is here. Johnny Diamond is here. Daniel Maynard is here. We've got Jack tuning in on our Locals chat. Becca's here. Becca, I am coming to your country tomorrow. I'm very excited. It's going to be great. Hopefully they don't stop me at the border for my criticism of Justin Trudeau over the years. You never know is all I am going to say. So there is that. All right, you guys, let's jump right in because it is going to be a crazy fun day on the stream. Crazy true crime style day on the stream. Whatever you think about this story, I want to know your thoughts throughout the entirety of the stream. So drop all of this in the live chat because I cannot live in isolation of the shock, horror, and awe of this story alone. You need to share in the amazement with me. Amazement not in a good way, by the way. So this was unpacked this week, reported on this week. This was yesterday from NBC News. A Utah mom, I think her name is Kouri. Yeah, Kouri Richins, who wrote a children's book about grief and how to deal with the loss of a loved one after her husband died last March, has now been arrested and charged with murdering said husband. This is wild. This is the stuff that they make Netflix documentaries out of, I swear. Eric Richins died on March 4th at their home after his wife made him a cocktail, which is the alleged reason that he died, according to authorities. So she poisoned her husband, allegedly? This
unexpectedly last year.
A month after promoting her children's book inspired by her husband's death, the widowed mother of three is now charged with his murder.
So you actually wrote this book with your children?
I did.
Police arrested Kouri Richins on Monday outside of Park City, Utah, alleging the 33-year-old poisoned her husband Eric last March with a lethal dose of fentanyl.
What? Okay, so literally a month has gone by since she started promoting this kid's book that she wrote with her kids about her husband dying. And now a month later, it comes out that this very unsuspecting looking woman, I would never look at this woman and think you are a husband murderer, but she is apparently, allegedly, I'm the child of lawyers. We know that everybody is innocent until proven guilty. Okay, it's alleged, but allegedly she poisoned her husband with fentanyl in a Moscow Mule last March.
According to court documents, police were called to the couple's home at 3:22 in the morning and found Eric unresponsive on the floor at the foot of his bed. An autopsy later revealing he had 5 times the lethal dosage of illicit fentanyl in his system.
What?
Kouri told
Where do you
responding
even get
officers
that?
he made Eric a Moscow Mule, which he drank in the bedroom earlier that night before she went to sleep in her child's room.
Okay, red flag. She didn't go to sleep next to the husband. She went to sleep in her child's room. Red flag.
Investigators say they found phone records indicating she'd sent and received messages that night, which were later deleted. Her seemingly heartfelt sentiments expressed while promoting her book, now seen in a very different light.
It's just comforting to them to know that, you know, they're not living this life alone. Like, Dad is still here. It's just...
Except he's literally not here. Dad is literally not still here because allegedly you poisoned him. I swear, this is like a Dateline special, but it's like this is real. This feels like a Netflix true crime documentary or like an HBO fiction true crime thing. But this is a real story. This is wild.
It's in a different way.
According to the charging documents, Kouri purchased fentanyl from an acquaintance last February, which she says was for an investor asking for some of the Michael Jackson stuff.
Who's it? An investor? Who? I'm sorry. An investor in fentanyl? Who would invest in fentanyl for any valid good reason? I'm just saying. An investment in fentanyl is an investment in death. I mean, like, that's obvious, right? What a weird word to use. And when I look at this woman, I do not think she's gonna murder her husband. Like, no part of me looks in this woman's eyes and is like, you could kill someone. That's what makes this so bonkers crazy to me. Like, out of control insane.
Days later, following the couple's Valentine's Day dinner, Eric became very ill and told a friend he thought his wife was trying to poison him.
He knew? Okay, this is the part that blows my mind. The man knew that his wife was trying to poison him. He had a sneaking suspicion that his wife was trying to poison him. Why would he drink a cocktail that she made for him at 3 a.m? What is running through this man's head? Like, if you think your wife is trying to poison you, why would you drink or eat or touch anything that she hands you? Am I crazy? Like, if I had that sneaking suspicion that anybody in my life was trying to poison me, which is a very specific suspicion. That feels like a Middle Ages Game of Thrones level suspicion, not a 2023 how I'm going to get murdered suspicion. What part of me would want to eat or drink anything prepared by that person? Maybe I just overthink things, but one would imagine that would go through your head.
Prosecutors allege Kouri then purchased even more fentanyl, and less than a month later, Eric was dead, and Kouri, claiming to be grief-stricken, dedicated this book to her husband, calling him a wonderful father.
What? Okay, I can't.
Took things that my kids have said to me this last year and we kind of articulated it and put it into a story.
Wow, this is such a bizarre story, Erin.
Yeah.
What else? We know some about the marriage, which you reported on. What else do we know about that?
Yeah, that's right. According to his obituary, the couple was married for 9 years. It also refers to Kouri as the love of his life. She told investigators they were even celebrating the night of his death after closing a deal on a house for her business. Richins is now charged.
Okay, what is her business? That's the part that I want to unpack, because if she has an investor that's interested in purchasing fentanyl, what's the business? That's what I want to know. Also, this outfit is very weird for the news, just as a complete side note, because I'm a woman and my brain moves at 1,000,000 miles an hour and thinks about multiple things all at once. It looks like she spilled something on her dress for the news and now she's wearing a surgical gown to cover up. Just random observations from Miss Isabel.
Aggravated murder and 3 additional felony drug charges. She has yet to enter a plea and her attorney declined to comment at this time. We expect to see her in court next week.
All right, Aaron McLaughlin for us. Aaron, that story, and just think about the kids like
right.
hearing that.
So we'll unpack this story a little bit more ourselves, but let's see what you guys have to say about it first. Ethan thinks the Michael Jackson stuff is very funny. Red Scorpion is saying, WTF, bruh, what is going on? Steve answered my question quite eloquently on YouTube. Thank you, Steve. That Hunter Biden would probably invest in fentanyl, theoretically, allegedly. So there are people who might invest in drugs. Orthodox Russ says it's an investment in collecting life insurance. I suppose that's a good way to define an investment. I don't know. Red Scorpion says, if you see this woman, run. I guess so. The whole thing is just absolutely insane. Magic Dev says this is like a soap opera in our Getter chat. It does. It does feel like a soap opera. It totally feels like a soap opera. Daniel Maynard on YouTube or on Locals says, this kind of reminds me of when O.J. Simpson wrote that book about how he would have killed his wife if he had actually done it. In parentheses, he probably did it, according to you, Daniel Maynard. Yeah, it kind of does feel that way, right? It totally feels like this weird out-of-body experience writing a kid's book about grief for your deceased husband when you allegedly did the deceasing. African Warlord says, I'm such a dork. I know I'm a dork, okay? But these are the stories that just absolutely captivate me and blow my mind. In another life, if you ask my parents, I was a criminal attorney, or I should have been a criminal attorney. Instead, this is what I am doing with my time. So because I'm not in court talking about cases like this, which would have been me in another life, we're going to talk about it on the stream because it's absolutely phenomenal. So they go on to report a Utah mother, this Kouri Richins, I think is her last name, Richins, who wrote a children's book about how to cope with grief after her husband's death last year, is accused of having poisoned him with a lethal dose of fentanyl after she served him a celebratory Moscow mule. What a way to go. That's really sad. I love Moscow mules. Can I never trust a Moscow mule again? This is terrible. She's 33 years old. That's it. It's awful. Was arrested Monday on charges of aggravated murder and 3 counts of possession of a controlled substance with intent to distribute. Her attorney declined to comment. Probably smart if you are her attorney at this point. Eric is the husband, died at their home about 40 miles southeast of Salt Lake City last March. Sheriff's deputies from the county responded after she called 911 to report that she had found him unresponsive in their bedroom. Deputies found him on the floor at the foot of the bed. Life-saving measures were attempted, but he was declared dead. Okay, maybe it's just me not being a lawyer and not going to law school despite getting in and choosing not to go. How come it happened on March 4th, 2022, that this man was dead in their bedroom, that the wife calls 911 at 3 in the morning, 40 miles southeast of Salt Lake? Have you ever been 40 miles southeast of Salt Lake? There is nothing. Like, there's literally nothing in that part of Utah. How come it took from March 4th, 2022 to May 9th of 2023 for anyone to suspect reasonably enough to charge her with the crime? The wife. Seems a little fishy to me. Small town Utah took over a year to come up with a reasonable enough suspect in the only person that could have theoretically performed this crime to arrest her now? That seems a little bizarre. And they did it a month after she started promoting her book. Like, did it not, these are the thoughts that I have, did it not occur to anybody that she could have committed this crime until after she wrote a book on grief with her child? Seems like an awfully long time to not charge anybody with murder, but maybe it's just me. Suspects asked for the Michael Jackson stuff, the records show. Before her husband's death, she asked an acquaintance for something strong, some of the Michael Jackson stuff. God, that's bad. According to the court document, as we know, he died in 2009 after receiving a lethal dose of drugs. Good stuff. The acquaintance got dozens of fentanyl pills for her, the document said. Dozens of fentanyl pills? If you don't know anything about fentanyl, by the way, Google a picture of a lethal dose of fentanyl. And it is like a tiny, tiny portion of a penny. Like almost minuscule is a lethal dose of fentanyl for for the average person. Fentanyl is 100 times more potent than morphine. Multiple dozens of fentanyl pills could kill many, 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 many people, not just one person. That could theoretically kill, I mean, we don't know what the concentration of fentanyl is in those pills, but Alex is saying enough fentanyl could kill thousands of people. Yes, it could. So was this really her MO, to kill the husband? Or why else would she acquire dozens of fentanyl pills if not to kill multiple people at the very least, right? She told investigators that the night before her husband died, the couple were celebrating because she had closed on a home for her business. Again, what is this woman's business? I am dying to know what the business is. She said that she made him a Moscow Mule in the kitchen and took it to the bedroom, and that he drank it sitting in bed. This is so like Game of Thrones to me. This is like Lord Peter Baelish poisoning John Arryn on behalf of everyone else. Like, this is like wild to me. She told investigators, according to the document, that she slept in one of her children's bedrooms that night, red flag, because the child had a night terror. She allegedly woke up around 3 a.m. and found that her husband was in their bedroom, cold to the touch. Gee, shocking. Shocking, I'm sure. She told deputies that she left her cell phone in her bedroom and did not take it to her child's room. Do we really believe that? Investigators later learned that her phone had been locked and unlocked several times, and that it showed movement during the time frame where she said she was in her child's room, according to the probable cause statement. Text messages were sent and received that had been deleted. Yeah, just to remind you, you can't hide anything these days. Like, they track everything anyway. This thing tracks everything that I'm saying right now to give me personalized ads about literally everything. You think it's not going to be able to tell you if it moved locations from room to room or if it was in use? Don't lie and say that you left it in the bedroom. That is just rookie knowledge of technology, in my opinion. At the time of Eric's death, the only people in the home were the couple and their 3 young sons. Again, this is this woman. When you look in her eyes, do you see anything that tells you murderer? That's the crazy part about this story to me. Again, she's innocent until proven guilty, okay? There's a lot of evidence, theoretically, here that she allegedly committed this crime. I don't look at this woman and think she's going to theoretically kill her husband. Maybe she didn't work out enough. This makes me want to go hit the gym before my fiance gets home tonight, flying back from Budapest. Happy people just don't kill their husbands. The original girl boss lawyer, Elle Woods, taught us that endorphins come from exercise, endorphins make you happy, and happy people just don't kill their husbands. So if you don't want to kill your husband, go hit the gym with me tonight. Although that's not very body positive of me to say, which we'll get into later. Here's where the story just gets really crazy to me, though. Like, truly asinine insane. A year after her husband's death, she published a book, a children's book about grief and how to deal with the loss of a loved one called Are You With Me, to create peace and comfort for her children who have lost a loved one, or any child who's lost a loved one, according to a description on Amazon. It said the book will help reassure children that although their loved one is not present, their presence will always exist, and they walk through life with you as if they were here. In the 41-page book, a boy questions whether his father is with him when he is sad or mad, and whether he is with him for special occasions, at his soccer game when he scores, his birthday, Christmas, and when he starts his first day of school. The father reassures the boy that he is there for all of those moments. Kouri Richins dedicated the book to my amazing husband and a wonderful father. And the book has now been removed from Amazon. Yeah, you don't say it's been removed from Amazon. Just saying. She did an interview with the local TV station in Salt Lake City last month, and she discussed her book and her husband's death. You saw a clip of that up above, which she said happened unexpectedly. Did it, though? Did it really happen unexpectedly. She said, "It took us all by shock. My kids and I kind of wrote this book on the different emotions and grieving processes that we experienced last year, hoping that it can kind of help other kids deal with this and find happiness in some way or another." She went on to talk about how she would tell her children that their dad is still here, just in a different way. She said she wrote the book after she saw how her children struggled with their father's death. The station updated its story on Tuesday to say that they had not been aware that she was suspected in her husband's death. She posted a video collage of her husband and children on Facebook last week and wrote in the caption that life has been hard without him. "The cards I have been dealt seem like a game that just can't be played," she posted, adding the hashtag "please come home." This is wild. Okay, so the story is crazy enough in and of itself, right? Like, the story makes your head spin in and of itself. How could this have possibly happened? How could this woman, who does not look suspecting at all, could theoretically, allegedly have killed her husband? The child book story on top of it all. But big picture, okay? Big picture outside of the minute details of this crazy case that I'm sure is going to captivate the country the same way that Gabby Petito's death did and many, many other true crime cases do. Big picture, why does it matter and why should we care? Not just because of the loss of human life. That's always something to grieve over. And this whole case is just clearly indicative to me of mental health problems that our country is dealing with across the board. But I really want us to think big picture about the impact of fentanyl, knowing most fentanyl deaths in America today are not occurring because of a wild, crazy, out of a Netflix special or Dateline special murder case spiking your Moscow Mule with fentanyl and killing you in your sleep when you're angry at your husband, apparently. Whole crazy story. But most fentanyl deaths in America today are occurring because of unexpected overdoses and fentanyl being laced into fake pharmaceutical pills, into cannabis products and marijuana, or people getting hooked on opiates from pharmaceuticals, from heroin, or from fentanyl itself, and then just needing more and more and more until they die. And perhaps the biggest reason that fentanyl is flooding into our country is because of our complete disregard for America's southern border. So I want to finish out this article and then bring us back to the big picture about why fentanyl should be scary, scary, scary for us, not just because of this particular story, which is crazy and scary enough in and of itself, but why should it be scary for every single one of us that may not have a crazy wife that's going to spike our Moscow Mule, allegedly, late at night? So to finish out this article, it was a fentanyl overdose that led to the man's death, according to the autopsy, and they ran a toxicology report showing that he had 5 times the lethal dosage of fentanyl in his system. Well, yeah, if you had dozens of fentanyl pills, and again, go open up another browser on your computer right now and just search lethal. You know what? We'll do it together. We'll do it together because this is important. If we search lethal dose of fentanyl right now, I will show you what can kill somebody. It's not a giant pill. Here we go. That much fentanyl is a lethal dose for the average human being of fentanyl. That much, right next to the penny. So if you have dozens of pills of this medication, it's hardly surprising to me that a toxicology report can show you that you had 5 times the lethal dose. And that it was illicit fentanyl, meaning illegal, and not medical grade fentanyl, which does exist. Basically, where can we reasonably assume that that came from? Probably across our southern border at one point or another. It is also believed that he ingested the drugs orally, according to the probable cause statement. Authorities accused Kouri of having obtained the fentanyl pills from an acquaintance identified as CL. I don't know who that is, but I don't think it really matters at this particular point. They also alleged that Eric had told a friend that he believed his wife had tried to poison him after a Valentine's Day dinner weeks before he died. Again, why would you eat or drink anything if you really thought your wife was trying to poison you? Different conversation for another time, I suppose. A search with the warrant showed that he had several communications showed several communications on her phone between her and the acquaintance. The acquaintance, who had multiple drug charges, hardly surprising, told investigators that Richins had reached out from December 2021 to February 2022 and asked for prescription pain medication for an investor who had a back injury. Within a few days, they procured hydrocodone pills from a dealer. Kouri told this person to leave the pills at a house defendant was flipping in Midway. Yeah, you guys are saying that New York Times is saying this woman is a real estate agent. Somebody said that she flips houses. So there you go. Left the pills at the house, and then she left cash. The acquaintance got 15 to 30 fentanyl pills. Again, this is a lethal dose of fentanyl. 30 pills of fentanyl could kill many, many people, and delivered them to Richins, who paid $900 for the drugs. 3 days later, he became ill after a Valentine's Day dinner at home. Eric believed that he had been poisoned. He told a friend that he thought his wife was trying to poison him. About 2 weeks later, defendant contacted that acquaintance again and said that the investor wanted something stronger and asked for some of the Michael Jackson stuff. They specifically asked for fentanyl. She again paid $900 for the drugs. Days later, her husband was dead. The sheriff's office declined to answer any questions about the case, as it's being handled right now by the attorney's office. The county attorney, Margaret Olson, said her office will not be making statements on the matter. That's really interesting. Please keep in mind that there are 3 young children belonging to the defendant and the accused, making this matter very sensitive and difficult. That's exactly true. So a detention hearing is scheduled for a couple of weeks from now on May 19th. I'm excited to see what happens with all of this, but May 19th is an awfully long way away. Red Scorpion is saying 30 pills of fentanyl could easily kill 5 blue whales. Yeah, and we're worried about a crazy murder case, and we're not even thinking about what the largest impact of fentanyl is actually going to be. So to bring this back to like a 30,000 foot level before we move back into our next story for the stream, why does this story matter? Is it crazy? Is it interesting to unpack? Yes. Is there probably going to be some sort of HBO documentary about it? Yes. It's wild and it's crazy and it keeps you up at night, and it's like watching a train wreck that you just can't peel your eyes away from. But the larger impact of why this story matters is that our current government's complete disregard for any level of security along our southern border is allowing enough fentanyl regularly to come across our southern border from bad actors. Really bad people who want to do bad things just like this, enough fentanyl to kill every single man, woman, and child in the United States of America. A report that I read this week said more than 6 million, nearly 7 million illegal immigrants have crossed our southern borders since January of 2021. Which was when President Joe Biden took office. Don't quote me directly on that. I didn't pull the study back up, but I was reading a study somewhat along those lines that since Joe Biden took office, about 7 million illegal immigrants have crossed our southern border and come into the United States of America. We don't know where those people are. We don't know where they went. We don't know what their motives are. We do know that many children that come across the southern border are raped, tortured, and abused, or even killed, all out abandoned, used as a mechanism for bad people to get into the country by lying and pretending that they are those child's parents. A recent horrifying, harrowing story from our southern border found an 8-year-old little girl that had dozens of male DNA samples inside of her, meaning she'd been raped by multiple adult men at 8 years old. The stories across our southern border are just horrifying, but I want you to put this into perspective. There are more than 20 United States in our country that have a population less than the number of immigrants that have illegally walked across our southern border since Joe Biden took office. When you realize that more than 20 U.S. states have had their entire population overshadowed by the number of people who have illegally walked into our southern border, bringing with them illegal drugs like fentanyl, enough to kill every man, woman, and child in the United States, illegal firearms and weapons that are being used to commit unbelievable atrocities and human rights devastations every day in this country, but we care about gun control apparently. When those people are committing crimes against humanity like raping little girls or torturing children or using children as a guise to get into the country and then abandoning them as soon as we get into the country, rendering them completely defenseless and helpless, what the hell are we doing as a country? One true crime story out of Utah, which again is a crazy story, okay? Is an absolutely crazy story and is worth diving into because it's interesting to unpack the human mind. This one story is getting far more media attention than anything that's happening across our border. Have you ever asked yourself why? Why that is? Why the people who scream and cry and yell their hearts out the loudest about gun control, about mental health, about believe women and stop promoting a rape culture, about school security, about all kinds of stuff. All of those people are absolutely silent on fueling all of those problems with our complete disregard for any level of security at our southern border. They're literally just going, I can't see you, you can't see me. What problem at the border? On the border? It's a great restaurant. I've been there, says our border czar. What the hell are we doing? If this much fentanyl is enough to kill the average human being, how on God's green earth are our politicians, from both sides of the aisle, by the way, because make no mistake about it, everybody that says that they want to defend the border is doing jack shit about it on Capitol Hill right now. How is it possible that our politicians have allowed enough fentanyl to kill all of us to just traipse across the southern border on a regular occurrence? How have we allowed substance abuse to become this out of control because we refuse to hold Big Pharma accountable for a lack of adequate regulation? And I don't even like regulation, but a lack of adequate regulation on how we prescribe opioids and how we follow up with patients who have been prescribed opioids. How are we okay with living in a society that believes all women all the time, but we refuse to hold any horrible person accountable for gang raping an 8-year-old little girl? How are we okay with that? I am sick and tired of living in a country that pretends to be on the moral high ground, that pretends to be basking in moral superiority about being the best country the world has ever known, when we can't even protect our own citizens or the people legitimately seeking asylum. We can't protect innocent little girls from being gang raped by cartel members who are then bringing illegal fentanyl into our country with the intention on killing people, or illegal guns into our country with the intention of killing people. If one more person tells me that they care about keeping kids safe at school and they need to promote gun control, or we need to rewrite the Second Amendment or whatever, but they refuse to say anything about the southern border or say open borders is the best answer, my head might explode. Just to be totally transparent with you. Our complete lack of moral and ideological consistency is mind-boggling to me. So don't you dare for 1 second try to tell me that you care about keeping kids safe, or you care about protecting people from substance abuse, or you care about gun control and criminals with guns if you're not serious about securing our border. That's not hyper-nationalist of me to say. That's not white supremacist or xenophobic of me to say. That's not Naziist of me to say. That's humanist of me to say. Because, newsflash, I actually give a crap about people. And I'm tired of seeing babies' bodies floating in the Rio Grande River when we don't do anything about the people that put those babies there in the first place. I am tired of seeing study after study and story after story about a 16-year-old who had no idea that they were taking fentanyl, but just asked their friend for Adderall or something at school, which they shouldn't do anyway, but they die in the school bathroom. I am tired of reading stories like this. I am tired of reading stories calling for an end to firearms everywhere when illegal firearms come across our southern border every single day that are then used to commit the mass shootings and the crimes that we all have a problem with to begin with. I am tired of this complete lack of ideological inconsistency. America is not on the moral high ground on this issue. We're not. And I don't think that that's anti-patriotic of me to say. I think that's realistic of me to say. And we have to demand better from the people that we elected to represent us and to keep us safe if we're literally at all serious about keeping America to exist, period. Because a country without any sort of security, borders, or identity whatsoever is not a country. It's just a place, a geographical location that people can go to. We're not even, first of all, we're not on offense, but we're not even on defense on that issue. We just haven't showed up to the game at all. And I'm tired of it. And I'm sure that many of you guys are as well. So as crazy as this story of the Utah mom is that blew my mind, and I love true crime and I would love to unpack more stories like this on the stream, I'm pretty pissed that this story is getting far more media attention than any of the human rights atrocities that happen across our southern border or on any other cultural front, from abortion, from castrating kids when they're children, from what pornographic books children are reading at school, or having to perform oral sex acts against their will in first grade, which, oh yeah, happened this week, but I guarantee you didn't hear about it on the news. I'm tired of meaningless crap getting completely blasted through the media megaphone. Not this story. This story is not meaningless crap, but meaningless crap does get blasted through the media microphone all day, every day. And if you are still watching TV, or you're still watching the networks that you think are trustworthy to bring you this sort of information, just, at least for the love of God, supplement that information with independent creators, because the media is not covering the stories that desperately need to be covered today. The real stories of the massive human rights atrocities and security issues and illegal activity and criminal behavior and stories putting your life at risk that desperately need to get covered. So that's my soapbox for the day, I guess. My voice is going out because I keep yelling. It is my soapbox for the day, but I've just about had enough. And I'm sure you guys have as well, to be honest with you. Dutch Canadian says, y'all should build a wall. It's a fascinating concept that I've never heard before, but there you go. Tito says, for some reason, I can't send a super chat on YouTube. Oh no, I wonder why. It should be letting you, but thank you for your generosity to do that. I hate that. I don't know how I fix that, to be honest with you. I'm only one person and I'm not very good with YouTube. So I'm sorry, Tito. I know that you can do it over on Rumble for sure if you want to change browsers, because we're live over there. But thank you. You are so very kind for that. We do usually have super chats active, so I don't know why it's just not working right now. Sorry. Might be. We will get it fixed in the future. But I'll tell you what, this is just crazy. It's just crazy to me. Alex says this stream got effing real. I love it. Yeah, okay. I couldn't help myself, okay? I had a lot to say. It made me really mad. And you know what else is making me mad is that all of the kids' shows today absolutely suck. Long gone are the days of Dora the Explorer and Bear in the Big Blue House and Blue's Clues. Do you remember when Blue's Clues was like first out in the late 90s, early 2000s? Ugh. Blue's Clues was iconic. I had a real life thinking chair that was this red velvet chair, and it looked exactly like the chair that Steve would sit in and write in his handy dandy notebook. And I loved that chair more than literally anything. It had the little squiggles and everything. And my mom and dad donated it in a garage sale without my consent. I would have given that chair to my children, is all I'm saying. And I would sit there and write in my handy dandy notebook, I will find this chair if it's the last thing that I do for my children. But on average, most kids shows today are really awful. You probably saw the clip of that show with the animated bison, and the bison child was saying that they were non-binary, and that show has since been canceled. But one show that I actually think is doing a pretty good job, again, I'm not a parent, so I don't sit there and watch kids shows all the time, but I see clips of this show on TikTok all the time, is Bluey, which is a cute little cartoon about a family of Australian cattle dogs, and it's so cute, and they have a great message, and overall has done a really good job. I don't know if any of you guys have kids or you're familiar with Bluey. Bluey has been shamed and potentially is next on the chopping block from cancel culture because allegedly Bluey body shamed fat people. So I guess they can join us from our anti-body positivity movement stance from Monday on the show, because apparently they were evil and they called people fat, I guess, is allegedly what happened. Kid Spot in Australia is reporting experts are upset about body shaming on Bluey, but parents who like the show are arguing that it's just reality and that needs to be in the show. We asked thousands of people, this was in Australia, down under, if they were offended by Bandit and Chili, those are some of the main characters, disappointed about their weight in front of their daughters, and the results really surprised me. So this is the clip that everybody says that they are super upset about. I love how I'm getting ads right now. Sorry about that. I know I need a VPN. You guys can tell me. It's facing backlash due to an episode that some viewers consider to be fat phobic. So I'm curious if you think this is fat phobic or not.
Oh, man.
What?
Bluey.
Why did you say, oh, man?
I just need to do some exercise.
Tell me about it.
Ow! Found you. Why don't you just do some exercise?
Same old reason, Bluey. You kids and work.
Us? Why don't you do it now?
'Cause I'd be late for work.
So?
Well, that wouldn't make my boss very happy.
How do you make your boss very happy?
Nothing about
being
this
late for
screams
Well, you
evil.
won't get in the way of your exercise. And I think your boss would want you to be very happy as well.
Yeah, maybe you're right, Bluey.
Oh, man.
Literally nothing about that screams fat phobic to me. Nothing. Why will this not go away? Please go away. All right, well, this is being silly. Here we go. A 30-second clip of a new Bluey episode has divided the nation, divided Australia and America as well. People are really upset about this. It's been trending all over social media for the last several days. I think the whole thing is really silly. The opening scene in the latest episode, called Exercise, has attracted criticism for portraying a harmful message to children about body image. I'm sorry, is the harmful message to children that you should exercise and work out and take care of yourself? That's a harmful message, just to be clear. Okay. The iconic Aussie cartoon opens with Bluey's dad, Bandit, weighing himself and sighing in disappointment in front of his daughters. Mom Chili expresses dissatisfaction with her weight as well as the kids watch on. Bandit also grabs his stomach and tells his kids that he needs to do some exercise. Experts have since slammed the cartoon for body shaming, but now parents are coming out in force to defend their favorite show and the scene, which they say is common across Aussie households. A doctor is who originally called for this to get canceled. So a pediatric doctor, a dietitian, has said that this was a huge problem. Dr. Kyla Ringrose was among those to express disappointment, and eating disorder support has since weighed in on the controversy. Watching Bandit and Chili weigh themselves and openly hate on their bodies in front of the kids was really uncomfortable. I don't think they were hating on their bodies. They were just saying, I need to do some exercise, which, if you're living in reality, like the rest of us, is you admitting, I actually love my body because I want to take care of it, and I don't want to give it heart disease or diabetes or cancer or bone disease or blood clots or any of the other problems that we know are caused by obesity, but we like to pretend are not today. A feminist content creator, Lauren Beckman, said that kids internalize so much of what they see, and it's these small subconscious messages that can be the most damaging. Other parents admitted that they cringed internally when watching with the daughter, and another said the episode definitely triggered my own body image issues. So I'm fascinated to know, is this hateful? Is this a negative message about your body to share with children? I mean, if you love your body, one would think you would want to take care of it, right? Right? Nobleness D says, so watching your weight is fat phobic now? Yes. If you missed us on Monday, oh, Tito, thank you so much for jumping over to Rumble and donating in our super chat. So unbelievably grateful for you. And I will make sure that we fix that on YouTube. If you missed our episode on Monday of the stream, go back and watch it because that is exactly what we talked about. There is a super viral TikTok going all over the platform right now talking about if you work out for the purpose of losing weight, you are fat phobic. So yes, watching your weight is 1000% fat phobic, apparently, as of these days. African Warlord has a great point. It's a cartoon talking about dogs. People need to chill. Yes, they do. And Daniel Maynard says, it's a stupid time to be a human. It's a sad reality, but yeah, it is kind of a stupid time to be a human these days. Last thing I want to jump into on the stream before we jump over to locals for our post-stream Q&A, which you are all invited to, by the way, is a video that I swear is going to keep me up at night for literally months. Have you guys seen this whole trend on social media of people making realistic cakes? And it's cake that you eat, like for dessert, but it looks like something that's a real object. Maybe it's just me that has seen this, but I see these videos all over my social media, and every single time I watch them, I feel like my brain is melting into a puddle of goo because it makes no sense that this thing that I was sure was one thing is actually a cake that you could eat as a snack for dessert. So this new video of this came across my For You page on TikTok today, and I knew that I just had to show it to you because I swear this video is going to keep me up at night for weeks. For weeks. Daniel Maynard says, those folks are awfully talented. I want to know how to do this. And Red Scorpion has seen many of these videos. Okay. This one, though, will break your brain. It's going to melt your face off. Just watch.
Welcome to a day in the life of a hyper-realistic cake designer. I start my day with coffee because I'm a monster until I've had my coffee, or at least my coffee cake. And then I have to shave because I'm a very, very hairy man. And so, wait, that's not, oh, I forgot that's a cake. Messed up my razor. I'm really starving at this point because all I've eaten today is cake. So I have my breakfast cake, my cereal cake, my milk cake. Wow, how many times can I say cake in a day? Then health and fitness is important to me. So I work out, eat the salt lamp, and then wash it all down with water. Staying hydrated is super important. So look at me hydrating with that big water cake. And then I'm not gross. I have to get that sweat off me. I take a bath and eat my bath bomb cake. And it's also important that I don't just work, right? All work and no play makes Johnny a sad, bad boy. So I play Jenga by myself. And then once I'm done with that, I'm very cultured. So I go to the museum to look at the art.
That's a cake!
And that's really delicious art too. And I'm really usually sick to my stomach at this point because I've eaten like 12 cakes. So I take my Pepto-Bismol and my Gas X and my other meds. And then it's time for bed. It's a big day. I'm full, but before I sleep, I have just a couple more cakes. Yeah.
What? That's a cake! Nobleness D has the best comment for us as we round out the stream today. Clearly, Cake Guy is not fat phobic. No, he is not, and we are sure grateful he is not. You guys, you are all invited to come join us over on our post-stream Q&A exclusively on Locals. I just dropped the link to join us over there. Why is this being so silly? Getter, it's being silly and not letting me put it in the chat. Sorry, you're just gonna have to go find another link on our Getter posts, but I dropped the link for you guys to join us. Do me a favor today before we go and before I send you all to go do your homework of go to the gym, not just so that shows like Bluey can stay on television, but also so that you don't kill your husband, because we all need endorphins to not poison our husbands with fentanyl and their Moscow Mule tonight before we go to sleep. On whatever platform you are watching on right now, YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, or Getter, do me a huge favor and hit that subscribe or follow button. It means the absolute world to me and makes such a huge difference in my life as an independent creator every single time one of you hits that button. Thank you so, so much for joining us over here, for supporting my content, for tuning in today. I will keep you all updated on my cold and trying to beat all of that before I go to Canada tomorrow for the March for Life, which I'm super excited about. My first trip up to Canada. I believe it's my 20th country tomorrow, so I'm very excited about that as well. We'll have lots of fun content coming to you after my Canadian March for Life experience, and I will keep you updated on the stream for tomorrow and Friday, pending my voice, because I accidentally got a little bit too passionate today and yelled from my soapbox too much. Sorry, okay? I can't really help myself, obviously. Hit that subscribe or follow button. It is totally free to watch these streams. It always will be. And if you want to have some extra fun and some more one-on-one conversation with me, come join us for our post-stream Q&A as we do every single day over on Locals. That link is in your chat. Much love to each and every one of you. We will see you very soon, and Locals, don't go anywhere.